Frustrating rental showdown in East New York. Tenants of an apartment unit say they've been kicked out by the woman they were trying to help, but now the landlord says she refuses to leave. News 12's Rob Flack spoke to them about their fight to get her out.
I've been out of my home since January 15th.
For 159 days, Stephen Colon and his wife, Jasmine Rosario, have been homeless, forced to stay with friends.
We are now in June, and I'm still paying rent there as well.
And losing money. The couple says they were trying to do a good deed by giving their friend Kayla Ortiz a place to crash for a few weeks. The results, they say,
She stole my keys, basically.
have been a nightmare, and not just for them.
A squatter-type person that moved in.
But for Bailey Lockhart, the landlord.
And refused to leave.
Who can't get Ortiz out. In May, he asked her one final time to leave. He says he was threatened in person and over voicemail.
I'm sick of you and harassing me.
Ortiz claims she had a verbal agreement to pay rent to Colon and Rosario, but couldn't provide proof. She says she wants an eviction and she doesn't care what they call her.
If you are legally labeling me a squatter, then if that's the legal term for it, so be it. I have no issue with that. At the end of the day, I have rights.
What happened to our rights?
Rights Rosario says aren't helping her family.
There's got to be some type of justice for the people like us who do pay rent.
Lockhart is hoping for the eviction notice to finally get Ortiz packing.
You're not a tenant, and if you're not paying rent, please leave the apartment.
And get this family their life back.
I want to be home. I just don't feel safe.
Court hearing is set for June 25th. In East New York, Rob Flax, News 12, Brooklyn.
Tonight, new details about a deadly collision on Interstate 84 in Putnam County. It shut down part of that road for more than 5 hours. Melanie Palmer brings us the latest from police.
MVA involving a tractor trailer.
A serious crash.
A helicopter is also being put on standby.
In the westbound lanes of I-84 near Route 311 in Kent.
You could tell because of all the tractor trailers that were coming off the Lake Kwame exit. And once you saw that, you knew something was going on.
It happened shortly before 2 Monday afternoon. There's no word on how many trucks or cars were involved, but you can see some of the extensive damage here. New York State Police say one person is dead. The investigation into how it happened, creating major traffic backups around the area.
I was in traffic for over an hour and 15 hours, 20 minutes. No AC, wasn't on fuel.
This was bumper to bumper earlier, but you can still see down there. It's just, you can't go anywhere.
And leaving drivers very concerned for those involved.
First time I've seen something like this.
Police have not released the identity of the person who died in this crash. We're still waiting to hear if anyone else was hurt. In Kent and Putnam County, Melanie Palmer, News 12.
A Suffolk County police officer was in court today. He was arraigned for allegedly drinking and driving and hitting a pedestrian. News 12's crime reporter Krista McNally has the story.
The whole town was taped off as a crime scene.
Huntington Village was an active crime scene for hours after a pedestrian was hit by a car, according to police. They say that car was driven by Alexander Vargas, who is an officer in Suffolk County Police's 2nd Precinct and was off duty at the time. He is being accused of driving while intoxicated when he hit George Alfaro in the early morning hours on Sunday. In this surveillance video, you can see police arriving on the scene moments later. According to court paperwork, Vargas had bloodshot eyes, smelled like alcohol, and refused a chemical blood test 3 times before a warrant was obtained to force him to take one. Here's what Vargas's attorney told News 12 today.
He has dedicated his life to the betterment of the community as a Suffolk County police officer since 2022, and he is doing everything he can to avail himself of the rights that are afforded to him.
According to prosecutors, one witness said the crash on New York Avenue was so fast that the victim was thrown several hundred feet and the airbag deployed. The victim was transported to Huntington Hospital. Prosecutors said he had to be intubated and is in serious condition with multiple fractures.
People driving through here should be more aware.
One business owner we spoke with said there is so much foot traffic in this area that she would like to see more done to protect pedestrians.
We could use better lighting and maybe even more crosswalk signs, maybe even like a flashing yellow warning sign to wake up drivers.
In Huntington, Suffolk County, Krista McNally, News 12.
And the officer pled not guilty. He's been suspended without pay.
A tech billionaire's plan to turn a crumbling power plant into a massive public beach and event space takes a big step closer to reality. Crews just removed 3 oil tanks from Manresa Island in Norwalk. News 12 Connecticut's John Craven has the new developments tonight.
It seems a little strange, right, to celebrate removing some oil tanks, but this is actually a major step towards making Manresa Island a public park. The view from Manresa Island is breathtaking. Tech billionaire Austin McCord thought so. That's why he bought this decaying power plant and plans to turn it into a massive public park, beach, and event space.
Welcome back.
Now the project is taking a big step forward. Crews just removed 3 multi-million-gallon oil tanks that once belched thick smoke into the air.
It's a huge deal, and I think more than anything, every day that I work on this project, I'm finding people in the community that have a personal connection to this site.
But there's still lots of cleanup left. With the tanks now gone, environmental crews can find out what toxins are buried underground. And inside, well, that definitely needs a facelift. But all of it is being paid for by the McCords.
There's not a dime of government money in this project so far, and here we all are.
They're doing it, stepping up and doing it on their own. Their only advice to me was, please get out of the way.
Now we'll learn a lot more about what this place is going to look like, including a new name for Manresa Island, at a public meeting on July 13th in Norwalk. John Craven, News 12, Connecticut.
Huge mess left behind in the Riverdale section of the Bronx after a water main break at a construction site yesterday morning. Now, it caused commuting chaos yesterday. News 12's Brittany Cadet is there now with how things are looking. Brittany.
Yeah, Kirsty, we're on the side of Van Cortlandt Park South and Broadway, where that flood also reached. Take a look at what's left behind me. There's a lot of dirt, debris, and this huge muddy puddle here on this intersection. This is what's left here after that entire flood. This area looked like a river yesterday morning with muddy water oozing from a construction site. This all starting just before 10:30 a.m. According to the Department of Environmental Protection, a private contractor struck a 24-inch water main while working on a project at 160 Van Cortlandt Park South. The DEP's main concern was a 300-foot crane inside of the construction site that was flooding, and whether the water would make it unstable. This stopped foot traffic in the area, slowed down trains, and caused parts of the major Deegan to shut down for hours. Residents in the area say this doesn't surprise them.
The system is extremely old, and if you have no updating or no maintenance for 25 and 30 years, in this area there are a lot of cars, a lot of traffic. Yeah. Even though you might not see a lot of people walking, there's a lot of traffic here.
The DEP says that the water main was repaired last night, and they say that the water and electricity was put back on for those homes that lost it yesterday. They're also saying if you experience low water pressure, that it's not because of this water main, it's actually because of those illegal fire hydrants open here in the Bronx. For now, we're here in Riverdale. I'm Brittany Cadet, News 12, the Bronx.
Well, Brittany, thank you. And just into our newsroom, the Department of Building says a partial stop work order has been placed on construction at that site. They also have no concerns about whether or not the crane on the scene is unstable because of the water, but they have marked it off limits until the flooding can be cleared.
New information tonight on a deadly highway crash in Rockland County. We now know this crash on your screen involved a wrong-way driver on I-87. State troopers say Brian Tortora was heading north on the southbound lanes when he crashed into a towing truck near exit 12 at 3 o'clock Saturday morning. Police say Tortora then crashed into another tractor trailer, which caused the two trucks to hit each other. Tortora was pronounced dead at the scene. One truck driver was treated for non-life-threatening injuries at a nearby hospital, and we're told the other truck driver was not hurt.
A lifeguard in Monmouth County is recovering this morning after being impaled by a 6-foot beach umbrella. It happened yesterday in Asbury Park.
And that's where we find News 12 New Jersey's Tony Caputo this morning. And Tony, this isn't the first time we've reported on a story like this, but what's the latest on the lifeguard's condition this morning?
recovering as far as we know this morning, Simon. We're waiting for another update, but considering the story that was told to us yesterday and what happened to this young lady, certainly a credit to her toughness, and very fortunate this situation wasn't worse. This according to the Asbury Park beach safety supervisor who spoke with News 12 New Jersey yesterday. The beach umbrella pierced the young lady's arm while she was trying to mount it on her lifeguard stand, and as she was lifting it, wind caught it and pulled her backwards, and as she fell back, the umbrella came down and impaled her shoulder area. So much so, in fact, we're told first responders used a battery-powered bandsaw to cut down the 6-foot pole on both ends so she could then be taken to the hospital. We're told she was conscious and alert the entire time.
It wasn't really windy this morning. Maybe 5 to 7 mile an hour west wind, so it wasn't much. But like I said, it was just a freak gust that caught her at the wrong angle with the umbrella.
Just a freak gust, and you might want to call this a freak accident, but a quick internet search shows us that this happens all the time. And by all the time, I mean in 2023, a woman in South Carolina was killed when a beach umbrella went through her chest. We had incidents recently in Seaside Heights in the past couple of years. That same week, it happened in Ocean City, Maryland as well. When you look at the amount of times umbrella impalements take place on beaches, it is much more often than you think. And the Asbury Park beach supervisor said these umbrellas need to be down into the sand about a foot. They need to be twisted in, maybe a strap used to keep it down, even sandbags like we use for lighting when we use lights out here doing live shots and it's windy, something to keep it down, to keep umbrellas from impaling those who are on the beach. So we get more information on this lifeguard, we'll certainly pass it along. That's the latest from Asbury Park. Tony Caputo, News 12, New Jersey.